Hello, and welcome to the DCPS Science Department Understanding the 5th Grade Science State Assessment. My name is Madeline Twigg, and I am the Elementary Science District Supervisor for K through 5. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to primarily focus on the 5th Grade Science State Assessment. Who is taking the test? All grade 5 students will be taking the science assessment, and it will cover all things taught in K through 5. When is the test? The state testing window is May 3rd to May 28th. The school, though, will inform the students and the parents on the testing dates for each school and student. Some schools will be testing on different days than other schools, as well as different students will be testing on different days than other students. What should you expect? This is a paper-based test, and that must be taken at the school site. It is not an option to be virtual. It will be paper-based only. It is a 2-session test for 80 minutes each. Students that are allowed extra time will be given that, but for students that do not have extra time, they will only be given 80 minutes each. There are usually 60 to 66 items for the entire 2 sessions. They're usually split between 30 to 33 questions per session. Test item complexity. This tells you the complexity of the questions on the entire test. There will be 10 to 20% low complexity questions, 60 to 80% moderate complexity questions, and 10 to 20% high complexity questions. We're going to go ahead and talk about the reporting categories on this test. There are 4 main reporting categories on the science test. There's nature of science, physical science, earth and space science, as well as life science. We're going to go ahead and start with nature of science. The categories that nature of science focuses on are the practice of science and the characteristics of scientific knowledge. Let's talk about a little sample question that students might see on the test. I'll go ahead and read it, and I'll tell you the things that the students need to do and strategies that will help them answer this question. The students in Miss Smith's class were using catapults to launch small and large marshmallows across the room. The table below shows the distances in centimeters that the marshmallows traveled. Which of the following statements best describes the students' data? The students first will need to look at the data. They'll need to understand what the data is actually showing them. They're showing them the differences in the trials between the small and the large marshmallows that they traveled per trial. When you look at the answer choices, the students absolutely need to first make sure they can find the distractors or the answer choices that are completely incorrect. A, small marshmallows travel on average of 9 centimeters. Nowhere on here does it say that the small marshmallows travel an average of 9 centimeters. B, large marshmallows travel an average of more than 20 centimeters. If you look at the large, there are no marshmallows that even travel close to 20 centimeters. C, on average, small marshmallows travel farther than large marshmallows. D, on average, large marshmallows go higher in the air than small marshmallows. Well, we can say C can be right because on average, if we look at the small marshmallows trial results, they are going further than the large marshmallows. If you look at D, large marshmallows go higher in the air. We are not throwing them high in the air. We are trying to find out the distance. So the answer must be C. Physical science. Physical science is actually going to cover multiple big ideas. Properties of matter, changes in matter, forms of energy, forces and change in motion. Here's an example of a question that focuses on changes in matter. I'm going to go ahead and read it and talk to you about what the students need to do when they're answering this question. Micah placed a beaker of water on a hot plate. When bubbles started forming in the water, he made the first sketch. After 5 minutes, he made the second sketch. Make sure the students look at both sketches and realize the time and what the picture from picture 1 to picture 2 has changed. What happened during the 5 minutes that Micah was observing the beaker of water? A, water was changed into energy during a chemical change. B, water was changed into a different state during the physical change. C, water was changed into a different material during a physical change. D, water was changed into a different material during a chemical change. Well, your students should know that a chemical change is when one substance is changed into a completely different substance. As you can see, the water is just evaporating. It is not changing into a new substance. So we absolutely know that A and D are incorrect. Now let's look. Water for C, water was changed into a different material. Well, we know that physical changes do not change into new substances, so C cannot be right. So B has to be the correct answer. Earth and space. Earth and space covers a multitude of ideas. Not only does it cover Earth and space and time, it covers Earth structures as well as Earth systems and patterns, which includes weather. Here is an example of an Earth and space system assessment question. The diagram shows Earth's path around the sun. How much time is required for Earth to travel between point A and point D? This is actually testing the revolution of the Earth around the sun. Students are going to need to know how long it takes for the Earth to revolve around the sun to answer this question. The answer will be C, 9 months, because when you look at point A to point D, you're going to be counting by 3 months. Life science. Life science also has a multitude of categories underneath of it. Organization and development of living organisms, hereditary and reproduction, and interdependence. Here's an example of a life science assessment question sample. Body systems in humans sometimes have similar functions to plant systems. For example, a human skeletal system provides structure and support for the body. The following picture shows the basic structures of a plant. Which labeled plant structure is most similar in function to the human skeletal system? When looking at this, A points to the flower. The flower is used for reproduction in a plant, so that is not like the human skeletal system. B is pointing to the leaf. The leaf makes the food and gathers sunlight for the plant, so it cannot be B. C is pointing to the stem. The stem keeps the plant standing tall and growing towards the sun. That absolutely supports the plant, just like the skeletal system supports the body. And D was the roots. The roots take in the nutrients as well as the water. Now, how are we going to prepare our students? Here are some resources that your 5th grade students should have access to. First, our HMH Florida Science Grade 5 textbook and online platform. There's a textbook that students have in the classrooms. They can either bring it home, they can rip out pages to study from, they can answer questions in there for practice. They can also go online and access this through their blended learning folders, and they're able to get on there and do different assignments, do different digital lessons, as well as answer questions. We also have the Penda Learning online platform, which also can be accessed through blended learning. Students can do multiple assignments and activities to practice. And then the student interactive journals. Teachers use these for notes in their classrooms, and students write their notes from the core, science core, in their classroom. So this will hold all of the notes and information they need to be successful on the test. Let's prep. So some of the things that you can do at home is you can use those science resources that I just spoke about to review the content at home, quiz your students, have them go over different pages with you. You can ask questions. Practice using SSA style questions. You can find those in the HMH book that were on the previous page. You can also find those on Penda, as well as in the online resource online from HMH. And the last, continue to complete science home learning homework. When teachers are sending home learning assignments, it's not because we are trying to overwork the students. We're trying to get the students to review while they're at home as well, since we have a lot going on in school and we can't just focus on science. And finally, if you need more information about this test, please visit the Florida Department of Education or Duval County Public Schools website, talk to the Team Duval, or you can go into the Accountability and Assessment and talk to the DAT team to find more information about the testing, the calendar, and specific tests your students may be taking. Thank you so much, and good luck to you all.